You'll find a wide variety of museums that appeal to people with different interests all across our area. For our first museum profile, we thought we'd go with the theme of the season and hear about the Santa Claus Museum. And joining us now is one of the elves, Ann Wall. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Such a fun topic to talk about this time of the season. So tell us a little bit more about where the Santa Claus Museum is located and kind of the mission of the museum.
The Santa Claus Museum is located on the main street in Santa Claus on the Highway 162. If you've ever been to the Candy Castle, Santa Claus Candy Castle, we're right there, a stone's throw away. Santa Claus is in a very large town. So yes, that's where we're located.
So how long has this been in existence? I mean, we talk about Santa Claus Land and it's really morphed and everybody thinks of Holiday World, but really there's this really quaint areas in Santa Claus that really give homage to Santa Claus.
That's correct, and that's exactly why Mrs. Pat Cook created the Santa Claus Museum. She did that in 2006 because she had so many people asking her questions about the area, because she comes from the lineage of the Cook family. Her husband and her father was Jim Yellig, the original Santa Claus. It is fabulous, and she is 91 years old now and still our head elf and works with us every day. And so in 2006 she decided, so that the world and the community would know the truth about Santa Claus, Indiana, and how we got our name, she created the Santa Claus Museum, which was originally in the little strip mall there in Santa Claus. Okay. And then she got this piece of land where we're located now and had the museum, and then she had the original post office of Santa Claus, well actually Santa Fe at the time. She had that moved to our location, and then she had an old 1880s church also moved to our location. It was a big deal in Santa Claus. People lined the sides of the streets watching those buildings being moved to our location.
Oh, how interesting.
Yes.
So now it's kind of a village, right? And
correct.
The museum is the cornerstone of this. So tell us a little bit more about the museum and what some of the exhibits are and what you can expect if you visit.
Okay. Like the rest of Santa Claus, our museum is fairly small, but it is full of information. When you walk in, you see all the holiday decor, and walls to floor to ceiling, we have information about Santa Claus, Indiana. We originally got our name because when they went to apply for a zip code, we were Santa Fe, and they went to apply for a zip code. Well, we were told that we would have to change our name because there was another town in Indiana that had a name way too close to Santa Fe. Oh. So they had a meeting in the church to discuss this, and as they were sitting there, story has it, and I choose to believe, that the wind blew the doors open and a little girl that was in there heard the jingle bells, and she said, "It's Santa Claus." Oh. And that's how Santa Claus, Indiana got its name.
Wonderful. So what are the hours, and do you have any special events that are going on right now during the holiday season?
So because it's Christmas time, it's a special event every day in Santa Claus. And we are open from 10 to 2 Monday through Thursday, and then 9 to 4 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So if kiddos want to visit, is there any type of entry fee? What can parents expect?
There is absolutely no entry fee, but we do accept donations, which is what we run on. And the children can look forward to going into the post office, where we have old student desks set up for the children to sit and write their letters to Santa. And then they put their letter in the magic mailbox, and they jingle the bells loud enough so the elves can hear and come pick up those letters and make sure they get delivered to Santa.
Wonderful. So I'm sure it takes a lot of elves to help Santa with all of these wonderful letters that are coming in. Are you needing any volunteers or anyone to help?
You know, we have been so blessed this year with a wonderful amount of excellent elves that help us out, but we never turn volunteers away, that's for sure.
Wonderful.
Because we go through thousands of letters that we return each year.
All right. Well, and it's so fun to see the U.S. Post Office commercial that talks about Santa Claus.
I know, wasn't that fun? Honestly, last week when I worked, I had 2 people come in on the same day that said they came in because they saw that advertisement
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for all that the elves do. Thank you for telling us all about the wonderful Santa Claus Museum, and I hope you have a very, very busy and successful season.
Thank you so much.
Now let's learn about the Children's Museum of Evansville. Executive Director Stephanie Terry joins us now. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you. And of course, the Children's Museum is such a gem in our community. Tell us a little bit more about the history of how it started and why it started.
Wow. So 1990, some visionary women in the Junior League of Evansville established what was called at the time Hands-on Discovery. With the leadership of Karen McGann, who is now deceased, spent a lot of volunteer time, sweat equity into building what people know in Washington Square Mall was a little storefront, small museum, grew out of that space. So about 2004, again, community leaders rallied around the idea and formed the Children's Museum on Main Street, where we're located and have been for the last 16 years. The city gifted the building to us for $1. A major campaign was invested in the community, opened what is really standing strong really right now, and was a part of the initial revitalization of downtown Evansville.
What kind of prompted this special museum for children? And then of course the Cook family, the Robert Cook family, really felt like it was such a great investment that they put their name on this museum. So tell us a little bit more about the importance of that and why it's so great to have it for children.
Yeah, now I think that kids learn best through play. We know, research has shown that hands-on, interactive experiences, again, spark the imagination and curiosity kids need to thrive as they are developing. First steps are usually, taken in the museum, connections with others, making friends. They learn all of this in spaces like children's museums. And so it's so vitally important, again, to the early development for children so they're strong and ready to learn in their traditional learning environments when they enter school.
How can people support you? I mean, you've got some great events coming up. Happy New Year is the neatest event for kids. So tell us a little bit more about that and tell us how our community can support you.
Absolutely. Well, Happy New Year's is the biggest party of the year for kids in this community. I mean, there's nothing like it of its kind in our city. And so on New Year's Eve, kids can experience a dance party. They'll have arts and projects that they can do throughout the museum. They're themed for the season. And there'll also be a ball drop at noon. So parents, you don't have to stay up late. You can join us, during the day for a party that is out of this world. We'll have Feller Express there as well with dinosaurs all over the museum. So it's going to be a Jurassic Park type theme this year. And we're excited about, again, celebrating with kids as we kick off and go into the new year. And really for us, it's a celebration too, because we are, while we've been in a rough patch, with the pandemic and the negative effects, we still dreamed about the future of the museum. And so we're planning for some new exhibit enhancements and improvements to our programs. And there's going to be some really great news to share in the coming year.
Terrific. And of course, I know you like to appreciate your members because membership really helps the museum as well. So you've got a little small event coming up for them too, don't you?
Yeah, we are having Evening with the Elves on this Friday, December 16th. And so our members and any donors and volunteers, it's our appreciation night for them. And so there's hot chocolate stations and other activities, again, that members will benefit from. So they can come on downtown for the Santa stroll, but then come on in the museum, again, allow us to thank them for supporting the museum because, again, we rely on the community support to thrive. And so it's very important through our admissions, our memberships, and other donations that we continue to see the community support.
Sure, and of course a lot of people will be off for the holiday season, so tell us a little bit more about your hours.
Throughout the remainder of this year, we'll have a holiday core. There's scenes for photographs, for family photos and so forth that you will experience, but starting Monday, December 19th, we'll be open. Normally we're closed on Mondays, but we'll be open this last 2 Mondays of this year through Saturday from 9 to 4, and then we're closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and we close early after the New Year's party. But other than that, we're open, we're available. There'll be some seasonal winter programming going on for the remainder of the year.
Great. Now, are there any restrictions in terms of age limits or anything like that? And how about an entry fee? What types of things?
Sure.
More information about that?
Yeah. So we serve birth to 12. I think there's something for kids of all ages and even their adult
Even their parents, right?
parents
Yeah.
who can engage in activities at the museum. Our mission fee is $10 for anyone 18 months or older, and we're committed to access. And so anyone that that receives food assistance or government assistance, they can get into the museum for $1 anytime throughout the year. And so we're pretty proud of ensuring that this is a place for all families to enjoy and experience.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about not being able to afford
Not at
to
all.
come or anything.
We'll make a way.
Well, and the other thing I love, and I know it's not timely right now, but I love to mention that it is for adults too, because you've got the way late play date, right? Where adults can go and have a good time. So people can put that on their calendar for next year,
Yes,
right?
hopefully. Yes, we hope so.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for all your information. We hope that you have a very successful and wonderful holiday season.
Thank you so much.
Joining us now is Corey Miller, Executive Director of the African American Museum of Evansville. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is another gem in our community that maybe not a lot of people are aware of, right in the heart of Evansville. Tell us a little bit more about the museum and what the mission is.
So the mission of the museum is to continually develop a cultural center to collect, preserve, and educate the public on the traditions of African American organizations, families, and families. Mm-hmm. So we've been around since 2007. Initially started when Sandra Matthews, who was the founder, had gone to Africa in the late 90s and came back and found out they were tearing down Lincoln Gardens, which was a housing development, one of the first in the country under President Roosevelt's WPA program. So it was built in 1938, and the first two housing developments were built in Indiana. The first one was in Indianapolis, Lockfield Gardens, and the second was Lincoln Gardens in Evansville, Indiana. And Eleanor Roosevelt was here for the actual ribbon cutting.
So the museum itself, does it give homage to the area that it was created in? And there's some there was a different name of the little area and things like that, correct? Can
Definitely.
you give us a little bit more of a history on that?
Absolutely. So the area that the museum is in is called Baptist Town. And that name was given to that area based upon Liberty Baptist Church, but it was really designed to be negative, the Baptist Town. That's where, black folks live, so it's, Baptist Town. So, however, it was turned into something good, and in terms of creating a legacy.
So what are your hours and what can people expect whenever they come to visit the African American Museum? What types of exhibits do you have? And
we have various exhibits. We have interactive exhibits for the kids. We have alternative learning exhibit, which teaches history. It allows the kids to color and learn about the people that they're coloring. Awesome. And then they can email it to themselves. We also have Legoland, which allows you to build your own community. And so that's interesting. A lot of kids just, flock to that area. Additionally, we have other interactive museums teaching about the history of Evansville and blacks in Evansville, Lincoln High School, civil rights. And we also have Baptist Town, Lincoln Avenue Boardwalk exhibit, which is new. We have jazz in Evansville, which we had Jazz Festival in 1960 and 61 that was phenomenal. I mean, there were major artists like Mel Torme, Duke Ellington. It's held at Robert Stadium, and it was an integrated event, which was very kind of like the start of back in the day. So, we have other exhibits. I mean, we have one of our main exhibits is to show an apartment of how it actually looked in 1938. Oh, and people really love seeing that because, I mean, it has a refrigerator that was from Surveil. It has a wood-burning fireplace. And actually, at that time, it was $10 a month to live in one of the apartments. Wow. So it's really interesting to see.
I've seen that, and it really transports you back in time, doesn't it?
It does.
It's very, very neat.
Actually.
So you've got some really exciting events coming up. Tell us a little bit more about that and how people can get involved.
We've rented out 2 theater rooms at Showplace. Coming December the 22nd, we'll be premiering the new Whitney Houston movie, which is called I Want to Dance with Somebody. So we've done this before. We did it a couple of months ago when Wakanda came out. Awesome. And so it's good when, friends of the museum and people all go to the movies together and just have a good time.
It really creates a community. And then some holiday events coming up for your museum as well.
Yes, we work with our one of our auxiliary groups, the Soul Writers Guild. They really help in terms of volunteering and providing programming for the museum. And so, again, this year they will be presenting the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. The first principle will start at the museum on December 26th. And I want to say it's sold out, but it's free. So can be sold out, but we do expect a crowd as we did last year. And then some of the other events will be, one will be at New Hope Church and another at Zion Church. So check out our Facebook page and you can see the dates and the times of each one of those events.
Wonderful. And very quickly, your hours at the museum if people want to come over the holidays.
So we're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4 every day.
All right. And they can find you on Facebook and can also give a call, right?
And actually, we have a new membership database, and you can connect to that on EVV, like Evansville, AAM, like African American Museum.org.
Wonderful. Well, Corey Miller, thank you so much for all of your information. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, Ann. You too. Thank you so much.
Now let's learn more about the Evansville Museum. Executive Director Mary Bauer joins us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the Evansville Museum, just a cornerstone on the riverfront. Tell us a little bit more about the rich history of the museum and its mission.
The Evansville Museum of Arts, History, and Science is a general museum. We're over 100 years old. Wow. We're here to serve the Evansville and tri-state community with a diverse variety of exhibits and programs.
Wonderful. And I love that you gave the entire title of it, because we always think of it as kind of history and art. But tell us more about the science that you guys have added to the museum and all of the exciting things in terms of that realm that you've
Sure.
included now.
We have a hands-on science center, and our most recent addition to the museum, which is our new front door and front entrance, is the Cook Immersive Theater and Planetarium, which is a 360-degree dome showing films, live programs about the stars. You can come and learn about what you'll see in the stars in the sky tonight. We show films on a variety of science topics. And we have a new program called Let It Snow, which is a fun animated show featuring a lot of holiday music. So that's fun.
Neat. That's wonderful. So something wonderful for parents to bring kids to,
That's
and
right.
an immersive type of program there. So tell us a little bit more about some of the other exhibits that you have and what people can expect whenever they visit the museum.
Great. We have several new shows. We just opened the Mid-States Art Exhibition, which is a fine art competition open to artists in 6 Midwestern states. Wow. So it's a wonderful show, paintings, drawings, prints, sculpture. You can see what's happening in the art world right here in the Evansville Museum. We have a great show on the history of Evansville in the 1920s, which will continue through the winter months. It's a fascinating look at how some of the key members of the community in the 1920s, some of the major events that happened, some of the buildings that were built in the 1920s. So it's a great exhibit.
Wonderful. So many things going on at the museum. It's not just this kind of quiet, I mean, there's quiet areas, but there's really a lot of bustling activity going on. How about some events that you've got?
It's a very busy place every day. We have busloads of kids coming every day, so which is a lot of fun. We have a new program in the planetarium called Mesmerica. It also is kind of an animated, fun musical performance. We have one more show this Saturday night for Mesmerica, and then it will start again in January. So check out our website, www.emuseum.org, to look for Mesmerica shows.
Wonderful. Now, do you have any other events kind of on the horizon that people can put on their calendar to plan for after the holiday season has gone by the wayside?
Right. We're busy planning for our 6th annual Art in Bloom, which is really a lot of fun. We invite floral designers from the area, from the tri-state really, to come to the museum, pick a work of art or a historic object in the collection, and then they recreate it and interpret it in fresh flowers.
Oh, very neat.
That will be previewing on March 2nd. It'll run through March 2nd and 5th. It's just one weekend because it's all live, beautiful flowers.
Oh, amazing. So if parents are watching, grandparents, and they're thinking about bringing their kids or their grandkids to the museum over the holiday break, what can they expect? How about admission hours, admission prices, those types of things? And when you visit a museum like this with so many different things going on, should they plan for an hour? Should they plan for half the day? What would be the best way?
They could plan for half the day to see a planetarium show, go through the galleries, and it's a lot to do at the Evansville Museum. With the holidays on weekends, we're going to be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday between Christmas and the New Year's holiday. So generally we're open from 11 to 5 during the week and on Saturday, and then noon to 5 on Sunday. But over the holidays fall on Sundays, so we won't be open those two Sundays.
So when people kind of want to watch the calendar and find out when the shows are and things like that, where all can they find more information about what's happening?
They can go to our website and look at the Cook Immersive Theater. The schedule is on there. We have planetarium shows on the hour, every hour, so they can check that out and decide which show they'd like to see. And we'd welcome everyone to come to the museum.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for all of your information. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season at the museum. It sounds like it'll be a busy one.
Yes, it will. Thanks, Amy. We appreciate it.
Joining us now is Dr. Mark Browning, chairman of the Evansville Wartime Museum. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Really, really neat museum in Evansville that maybe not a lot of people know about. Tell us more about the Wartime Museum and its history and mission.
Well, we started about 2012, so we're in our 11th year of evolution. We opened our doors May 17th or May of 2017. So we've been a very growing place, very focused on military history and the industry of Evansville. And we focus mostly on World War II, but now we're focusing on previous wars and the wars subsequent to that. So a lot of good volunteers. We have over 80 volunteers that put a lot of time in. This last year, over 8,000 volunteer hours.
Wow.
And a lot of good brains with those volunteers. They have a lot of good smarts about our area and a lot of hard work.
Great. Well, and Evansville was really crucial during the wartime, wasn't it? So tell us a little bit more about kind of what exhibits and what information you share that helps people understand the role of Evansville in some of these wars.
Yeah, well, we focused mostly on World War II at our beginning because we were fearful of losing a lot of artifacts. And like all people, they have artifacts in their garage or in their attic from their parents or grandparents. Or we'd like to possibly look at those and display those at some time and preserve them for perpetuity.
Great.
Our museum has a lot of events, and we show people a lot of artifacts at that time. We just helped the city acquire the very prestigious award of calling a American Heritage City. There were only 19 cities that were given that distinction in the United States, and we were one of them. It was announced last week by Mayor Winning.
Amazing.
Yeah, everybody knows the atom bomb took about $2 billion to make the atom bomb.
Wow.
$2 billion to make this plane called the B-29 that dropped the atom bomb. Those are famous things from World War II, but Evansville had $600 million in contracts during the war. Prior to that year, prior to the war, it was only $2 million in contracts. So we had 1/3 the amount of contracts that the atom bomb had in World War II.
Wow.
It made our city. It made it's a destination city for a job at that time, with the population of 80,000 workers for the war effort out of 120,000, the largest in the world, Germany included. So people don't realize a lot of that happened in Evansville in the 40s, but it made a big difference for our community, and it showed the world that we were an industrial city. We made lots of things very efficiently, and we've remained that way over the last 80 years since the World War II era.
Now, your museum has moved over the last few years, so you're in a new location. Tell us where that is and how long you've been there. And when people come in, what can they expect whenever they see the exhibits? What all do you have on display there?
We're at 7503 Petersburg Road. It's the old Highway 57. If you go north on 41, if you've gone to the airport, you've gone one stoplight too far.
Okay.
So you take a ride at Petersburg Road, which is 1 mile north of St. George Road, where Whirlpool was.
Wonderful.
So we're located about a block east of 41. We're open on Thursday through Sunday from 12 to 4. Adults are $11. Veterans are $8. Children are $8, and less than 5, they're free. And we're open for all the public, and love to have public there. During this holiday time and other times, we'd like grandparents and parents to ask their kids to give them a gift, and the gift we want them to have would be admission to our museum, because learning happens from older generations. And when they see a lot of our artifacts, which we have close to 9,000 artifacts in our archives, these people will reflect on things and tell the stories of their parents and their grandparents, and it puts kids back close to 100 years, sometimes 150 years of information learned by looking at the artifacts we have. We have multiple artifacts. I couldn't go over all of them, but we got the P-47 that was made here in Evansville, and it's our little star, a very valuable piece of artifact. The Sherman tank, we got this last year.
Wonderful.
We have a Pershing car. It's a 1914 Packard that's loaned to us by Charles Postlethwaite. And those are major artifacts right now, but lots of small artifacts in our honor gallery. And in the area where industry worked, we have focused on what the people of Evansville did during World War II and subsequent wars. So those areas are things that people would like to look at.
Wonderful. Well, Dr. Mark Browning, the chairman of the Evansville Wartime Museum, we really appreciate all your information. We hope you have a great holiday at the museum.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, WIN, for doing all this for the community. You are just a fabulous asset to our community.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, thanks to all of our guests for highlighting the wonderful museums in our area. Newsmakers will be taking a break, but we will return in February. Thanks for watching.